Hello, how's it going? Hey, yeah. Okay, you should go here because I'll be looking at you. I wish we had a little table for coffee, so I could like chit chat and have. Oh, you're gonna be my table. You want some?
Risky in those trousers.
Well, how's everyone's can doing? This is second day, third year. And I'm super excited to talk about this because obviously AI is a buzzword, but I love when we get to have deeper conversations about what we're going to be talking about, which is how it can help the world versus hurt the world and ruin it, which oh my God, I just noticed you. I'm a great friend here. Because a lot of the headlines can be very fear-mongering, which are legit, by the way. Like, we need to be calling these companies forth. We can't be moving into this space blind. And skepticism is really important. But also, there's so much amazing stuff that's happening in AI right now. And I think we're really going to dive into some of those case studies, some of these announcements even, and how each of these individuals are using it and seeing the possibility for change. So with that, I'm going to introduce our panelists, and I want like a big applause because we need that energy. First, I'm going to go to Todd Terrazas. Todd, co-founder. All right, yes. Oh, wow. Wow, you guys are good. Co-founder of LivingLab.ai, founder of AI LA and AI on the Lot. If you're in LA, you've probably been to one of his events. He's just a great community organizer and a great person. Give it up for Todd. Woo. Sarah Salter. Yeah. Is then I need to actually do like the introductions or else no one hears what you do. Vice President of Global Partnerships and AI Innovation at WPP. Really good stuff. Just made some announcements. We'll be talking about that on the panel. And finally, Max Klemenko, who's an amazing creator and entrepreneur known for the viral series called Career Ladder. Thank you, Max, for being here. Yeah, sorry we couldn't do this on a ladder, but we're bringing you down. We're bringing you down. So I want to know from each of you, when you hear the phrase AI for social impact, what's the first thing that comes to mind? Opportunity, ideas, etc. Max.
For me, one thing, so most of my content is targeted at younger people kind of looking for jobs or thinking about what to do with their lives. When I'm thinking about AI and social impact, I don't think they believe it. Like, I don't think my audience believes it. And I think right now, there are so many examples of AI doing incredible things. And I think when I was growing up, like I remember The Matrix and like, Terminator was kind of a bad example. Well, Matrix was also bad outcome in the end. But AI was something very, very exciting. And I feel like for us, it's like, whoa, AI, like that's so cool. And it's saving people's lives right now. But I think for young people right now, like for my audience, when the big tech talks about it or when some of the organizations talk about it, they just don't feel like it's just not exciting.
Or they cancel you. Have you seen the college valedictorians or what? Yeah, speaking, and anytime they bring up AI, they peace out and boo. Like next gen right now, Gen Z, I feel like are very anti-AI.
Yeah. Which is something I think it's fixable. It's just I think a matter of framing what's in it for you and how are you helping us, not like we're the big tech and we have all this AI stuff and it's gonna change your life.
Yeah. What about you, Sarah? What do you think about?
I think we're kind of at a crossroads with AI, right? With where it's going to head. And for me, I think about the biased data sets that AI is built on and how we can change some of those data sets. I think about some of the rooms that I'm in talking about AI. I was in one the other day. There were maybe 600 men. There were 4 women. For me, it's really, really important that women show up in the world of AI. And that I help drive that change because ultimately I'm a woman in AI and I have the power to drive change.
By the way, thank you. Yes. On that note, I actually similarly, I feel the same way. And when the whole Reese Witherspoon AI conversation came up, or controversy where she said women should learn AI, it split a lot of our community. And I started this challenge with some other female AI creators, and we signed up almost 12,000 women around the world for this AI challenge, this 30-day AI challenge.
That's amazing.
And now we have this like 1,000-person WhatsApp group and all that. So I do think there's, a lot of people, whether it be Gen Z or other women, that are like, don't tell me what to do, and they associate it with girl bossing and all that. And then, but that's not all of us. And we can't necessarily just focus on the people that don't want to learn it or are hating on it.
Yep.
Because a lot of people do. And we need to show up for those people. So totally.
100%.
Todd, what about you? What do you think about social impact when it comes to AI?
Well, it's funny. So I've been building a community in Los Angeles for over 10 years in AI. And so I think most of Adweek and, not Adweek, sorry, Cannes Lions and being here, right, is more focusing more on the generative AI side, and of course, like, how are you going to serve more ads? But it's really interesting about, like, AI is really great about pattern recognition. So everything, like, from, helping with, cancer research. There's a lot of things around sustainability. There's a lot of things around even, like, helping with people around homelessness and finding different resources. So there's so much, like, different positive use cases around machine learning and AI that goes unnoticed in this world where we're mostly just talking about generative AI. How are we creating pretty pictures of dogs, dancing or whatever? Like, sorry, that's just me. And our videos and so forth. Or how are we making more ads? But there's actually way more underlying. There's a lot more positivity that can come out of it and social impact, especially when it comes to healthcare. And so those are the type of things I think we don't talk about enough, especially maybe in this audiences. And so that's what I'm more interested in. It's like you see the memes about like the data centers, and it's like, why do we need all these things? And it's just like, a prettier girl or whatever. But it's like, how can we actually be using these technologies for actually providing services to people that were underserved? And helping more people that really need it. And so anyways, I'm more excited about the non-generative way of using AI, the pure big data sets. And you're right, like majority of these data sets are all white cis males, right? And so like you're thinking about these huge AI machines that are helping make decisions for the majority of population, but the data sets are skewed towards a white cis male. And so there needs to be more, diversity in the data sets that we're capturing. And hopefully, there's a lot of big companies out here that can hopefully help with those types of projects where they're really out there working with more, diverse populations. And so anyways.
That's awesome. Love it. Yeah, I guess, Sarah, from the agency side, because you're working with such big brands, a lot of money at stake, how do you get them to see the importance of social impact in the conversation when they are, a mixture between looking at the flashy stuff, looking at workflows, of course, and just like what they need to innovate to get maybe the stock price up, and then say, but this could change the world. Come on, let's do some cool projects. How do you get them to focus on that?
Well, I think, big brands ultimately talk in money, right? So to your point, you have to show them the impact that AI is going to have on their business. So one thing we look at is, rather than look at, individual parts of AI, we look at the whole journey for the consumer, right? We look at how you inspire a consumer to come into an LLM, to delegate that task to an LLM, which then essentially feeds back your purchase loop. So what we firstly look at is the perception gap between how a consumer perceives your brand and how a large language model perceives your brand. And in doing that, we're able to equate that to value. How big the audience size is that's at risk with that perception gap, and in monetary terms, what the size of that is. So we have to start there, right? We have to start by understanding that perception gap. And once we start going there, we can start to build out social impact. We can start to look at how you close that gap, and bringing in all of the brand proof points where we start to think about the brand's role.
Okay. And I guess I have more questions because you also, you
So
have
much
announcements also in projects that you're going to talk about. So stay tuned in 2 minutes. No. Max, how are you using AI as a creator and using it in a way that won't turn off the audience right now because people are so skeptical about these tools? Well, I think also, again, as a creator community, it's like 50% are using and really learning and into it and getting brand deals with AI, and others are very anti-AI.
Yeah, I think it kind of depends on what sort of creator you are. I can see, for example, I've never been like the most creative creator, to be honest. My very first piece of content actually was a podcast called Max Talks AI that I recorded 9 years ago. No. Yeah.
You were an AI creator?
Yeah, 9 years ago. But I didn't stick with it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here. I'd be on my yacht somewhere chilling. Actually, I might be here, but not here. Maybe there. Yeah. But I have a fun life though now. You know what I mean? I think for me, we have done a bunch of partnerships with AI tools or big tech companies that have AI tools. I think they're cool. I think they're very useful. From a creator perspective, I think this is what a lot of people would agree with. It's like AI solving the problems that we really didn't need solving, and then it's not solving the problems that are just basic, like color grading a video, fixing audio on a video. It's like, why do we not have good tools for that? And they're like, well, here is a generative island, the generative world that you can. Yeah, well, we didn't need that. We just want the clean audio. You know, can you just do that instead? You know, it's quite simple. So when we posted those videos about different companies that do AI stuff, we didn't really get the backlash because I think my audience never perceived me as like part of the creative community, like an artist. You know, they know I don't have it like that. But for some of my friends who are also creators, who are kind of seen more that way, it's I mean, it's a problem. It's a real problem, and of course there's a lot of advertising money in the industry. A lot of big companies are doing it, and it's useful. And for a lot of people, I think there were so many comments for the people who were booing the speakers at the graduation ceremonies. It's like they used AI for their coursework. You know,
No, it's
they
kind of
they must
a
have.
hypocritical, or
You
maybe
know,
not.
it's-
I don't know. Maybe they're pure
No, I
in
think they have.
innocence.
I think they have. And I also find we recently had an episode with John Jumper, who is a Nobel Prize winner in chemistry, and he was part of the AlphaFold. That is a DeepMind venture that mapped the structure of a protein, and they open sourced it, so they made it available to like every hospital in 180 countries or something. It would have taken a human team 500 million years to do the same thing. So like quite a long time. It's like they're waiting for Arsenal to win the Champions League. Yeah. So.
Jeff,
And that's like that is very exciting. But to what you were saying, you were talking about earlier, Todd. Like I feel like now it's kind of not enough to just say like, oh, you think AI is gonna take your jobs, and there's also all of this AI slop online. However, it's saving lives though. Like AI has so many positive uses. I feel like for people, they don't want to see the examples of AI saving lives. They want the answers on those particular topics of like content of what's going to happen to jobs and all these. So I think it's kind of more of a maybe branding problem. But you guys, this is
We're
ca-
working
AI's
on it.
having a
We're
branding
working on it.
problem.
This is you guys
Maybe
can
AI
figure
can help
it out.
AI the industry with their branding problem.
Because
Yeah.
I feel like it's interesting, right? All of us can have the best doctor in our pocket. We get the best lawyer in our pocket. We have the best therapist in our pocket. It would usually be unaccessible, right? And so I feel like over time, it's going to be able to help us hopefully live better and healthier lives. But of course, we get caught up with a lot of the negative, right? Because just like electricity, right, or just like fire, right, it can be used for good and for bad. AI, same thing. And so it's just more people like you coming to events like this, talking about the good of how AI can be used. I think we need to have more of these type of conversations because there is so much positivity that can be used from this really transformative technology. But I feel like there's just a lot of there's just a lot of like evil out there too. So we need more positivity in the world.
As someone who builds communities around this, I guess what are you seeing now? Because I do think even with the work you're doing, like an AI on the Lot, this huge event really taking over, the focus is now, and the consumer focus is so entertainment and culture related. How do you get people to see this other side through what you do? And also, what companies are you seeing that we should be paying attention to, or case studies?
Good question. Well, yeah, if you're in Los Angeles, we have I started a nonprofit 10 years ago around AI. It's called AILA. I stepped down from the board this year to pursue other endeavors, but I built something that over 10 years before it was cool, and now we have a great team behind it with over 30,000 people. And we cover all different industries from climate tech to healthcare to biotech to manufacturing to finance, and of course a lot of media entertainment, given that we're in Los Angeles. And then I run this huge conference called AI on the Lot. It's the world's largest AI media conference in Los Angeles, or in the world, and it happens to be in Culver City. And we hosted it a few weeks ago at the Amazon MGM Studios. And so we doubled in size with 2,500 people this year, when last year was 1,200. So 2,500 people over 2 days, learning, about how AI is impacting their creative industry, right? So we did everything from workshops, we did everything from huge announcements, with big AI companies and brands, and then we had some really, amazing leaders in the space in filmmaking about how they're using the technology, and again, how it's more of a tool and how it's more of a collaborator with them, and it's not taking away their job, because again, at the end of the day, using AI doesn't have any taste, right? It's your discernment. It's like your lived experiences in the world that allows you to use these types of tools as like as a force multiplier, right? And so I'm really excited about, again, how these tools can hopefully inspire us to be better humans. And so going back to your point about like what are some great examples of companies out there?
Sorry, I did put you on the spot with that. I know
Yeah.
you're probably tired.
I can't. Yeah, I'm tired. I can't give it. I'm not gonna. Yeah, I can't give any like quick examples top of my head about.
You could take a beat.
It'll take a beat.
Think about it.
I'll
All right,
think
I
about
know. All right, so let's talk about what you're all doing when it comes to that, because I feel like you've been talking about very high level working in AI, but let's get into the nitty gritty.
So, yes, I was talking high level about brands, but actually, as humans, I have founded a platform with 3 friends called Unmute. And Unmute exists to reduce the bias in AI and to elevate females. So yesterday we had our first launch event in Cannes, which was amazing. Thank you. And we launched 2 products. So the first of the products, actually, the builder is here, Laura, who's amazing, is essentially based off the stats that 1 in 3 women leaves their job after they come back from maternity leave because they feel like they've lost touch or because they feel like it's impossible to keep up. And so we created a product called Nuria, which essentially tracks you for the year that you're out on maternity leave. It adds context. And when you come back into the workplace, it essentially helps bring you back into the workplace. So super cool product, Laura. And then the second thing that we launched yesterday was the AI patent tracker. So for every 1 patent filed by a female, 4 males are filing a patent in AI. So we've set that as our ambition. You know, I'm a marketeer. Everything has to be measurable. So we've set that as our ambition to start building products. You know, as WPP, we obviously have the privilege of working with amazing partners. Yesterday, we partnered with MIQ. We're talking to Amazon and Google and lots of other amazing partners about how we scale these products. So the other thing is we have a Substack. So LLMs, around up to 95% of the content is from earned and shared content. Only 5% is brand-owned content. So we have the opportunity to influence the algorithm as well, right? So we publish on our Substack diverse voices across our networks up to 6 times a week. And then we don't just publish, but we take what we publish and look at the opportunity to turn that into product. So yeah, very exciting.
Yes, we love it. We love action, doing the work, not just talking about it.
So this is helping your geo strategy,
Totally, all about the geo.
So,
generative engine optimization.
yeah, can
Very
you be,
good,
yes,
yeah.
we're learning together. I was like, geo, even me, I'm like, geo strategy.
Yeah, so look, when we think about influencing the algorithm, we're talking about geo, right? Or search, like modern day search. And when you are trying to influence an algorithm, only 5% of the content that it pulls up is from your own content at its lowest level. Which means you need to create influence, right? So you have to create influence via humans. So that's communities, that's social, that's amplification through paid media. All of that is directing towards how you win the answer in an algorithm.
That is crazy, by the way. So cool, but also crazy because you could also see how that could be used for good and bad, right?
100%.
Because I was in the EU actually, and I went to like the cybersecurity. I don't know, the people that do the crazy stuff behind the scenes. Weird stuff is happening, if you're wondering. And they're saying how there are bots grooming AI to like mess with political stuff happening, especially in Europe. It was kind of dark, but
I think the tech companies
is
are
real.
pretty smartly onto that, though. I mean,
Okay,
we had
good.
Anthropic speak at our event yesterday. What they're doing and building around trust, and the systems they have in place to prevent things like that are pretty incredible.
Yeah, they're working at a crazy speed, and they'll produce like millions of blog posts or video,
Yeah.
like, and they'll just what's it called? Storm the
Yeah.
system.
Flood the algo.
Flood the algo. Thank
Yeah.
you.
I want to see us flooding algorithms for good. So, like,
Yeah.
how do we
Oh.
get people the help they need
Yes.
by
Yeah.
finding certain charities and all that?
Yes.
So, think about us developing data mills, but around like positivity, good content that actually like helps people, that is not misinformation, right? Because we have a huge problem around misinformation, especially with any type of political campaign happening in any country around the world.
Yeah.
It's a very serious problem. But how do we develop like the white knight, you know, like good
Yeah,
content
that's
that comes
totally
out?
what Unmute's trying to do.
Well,
And, you know,
yeah. Yeah.
flood the algorithm with diverse content, with topics for good, and change.
Speaking of which, maybe Max is the White Knight here.
That's questionable terminology. Okay.
I don't know. Yeah. Well, I feel like really your content is for good. For good, you're like teaching people. You're an educator, but you're also entertaining. So where do you see the future of where your content goes in an age where, yeah, there is a lot of AI slop. I feel like there's a lot of talk about creators going extinct, even though I don't think that's ever going to happen because we need curators, we need voices, real people to connect with.
Yeah, I mean, there is definitely a lot of AI content and a lot of big channels. It's for now especially channels that don't rely on a personality as much as us that are really thinking about what are we going to do. I mean, AI can obviously film all the time. It can always look the same way. It can always do, you know what I mean? That's really, you know, one thing I really wanted to say is when you say you went to the EU,
I was in the EU, in Brussels, and
oh,
actually,
like in the EU head.
sorry,
like,
yeah.
Because I'm like,
European Union.
European Union.
no, I understand.
Yeah,
But I was
yeah,
like,
but I went.
like
they invited
Germany
a bunch
or
of
like Cyprus,
sorry.
you know?
Not England.
And I
not
apologize. That was
England.
so American. I went to the EU, even though I'm
Yeah,
Canadian.
Yeah, I'm like, EU is
But
very different.
thank you. I see how you're a good, conversationalist on your show.
But I think, I mean, on a real one, I think for creators to worry about AI, like this is a little bit crazy. Like there's so many.
Really, because
I
this
think
is
so.
a conversation.
I think there is a look. If AI slop is going to take your audience, like at this moment in time, then it's just not good enough. Like your channel's not good enough, your videos are not good enough. I think in many other jobs, it is like a very real consideration of like, you can see how AI can do this better than you. And I think for so many young people, it's like, if you are a lawyer and you want to be a tax lawyer, and I have many in my audience who want to do consultancy, who want to go into advertisement, you can look at it and you're like, I can see how AI is going to be better than me, and I don't know how to be better than the AI in this set of tasks. Whereas for an entertainment business, entertainment person, like there is 1,000 ways in which you could be better. One thing that we started doing, and we've been doing this the whole time, is keeping things that didn't quite work in. So, for example, if I stumble in my video, we keep it a lot of the time, or if the guest stumbles, it's like, 'cause it shows that it's kind of real.
It's real.
Yeah. Or for
Humans.
example, if the one that is filming, if a videographer makes a mistake, then sometimes, obviously, better not to make mistakes. But if sometimes there is a mistake and it's like, oh, the camera is a little bit shaky, I think a lot of the times we just keep it in to kind of differentiate from more polished videos. That's also the reason why we film outside. There's people around, there's things happening, sometimes people go in front of the shot. I think this all helps our channel to kind of stand out to more polished studio sets that sometimes you don't know if it's AI or not. And some people who also sometimes you don't know if they're AI or not, even when you meet them in real life. You're like, whoa, you just have 10 sentences that you always say.
I want to know who that was.
Like, I like to misspell words in my emails now just to show people, like, I wrote this myself.
You're almost like take pride in the imperfection, like it's real. I think it's interesting because we're talking about AI as a content creator, but also you're on the other side where your show is called Career Ladder. So you're there to also help the next generation. A lot of people are younger generation watching you to get inspired. Yeah. So does that inform who you feature also on the show now?
Yeah, well, I mean, this on the topic of the panel, we also made it an active effort to get more women on the channel. Um,
Woo!
yeah, because early on, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, it's just like when you, especially when your content's built around conversations with the strangers, sometimes due to many reasons, it's like guys want to be in videos more, and women for some. First, if you're a girl or woman who's making content online, it's like it's 3 times as hard with the comment section, with the DMs. It's like it's very weird out there compared to like I get some weird DMs, but not like that. But also, you know, kind of appearing on cameras, being a certain way. I think also content rewards certain type of bravado, you know, certain, you know, and sometimes I think for women, especially in higher positions, it's in corporate companies, it's really hard sometimes for them to be like, oh, but what is this gonna, what, you know, it just feels like they think about it a lot more. But I think the unlock for us is we had the UN Director of Outer Space Affairs, Artie, on our channel, which is like her job basically means that if we are invaded by the aliens, she would be the person who like talks to them, basically.
No.
Yeah. In an ideal world, I think we can all understand that now there would be someone else who wants to talk to the aliens, and they would say like, I want to talk to the aliens, which is, I don't know if this is a good idea. But yeah, so for example, and then for the UN, they had so many applications for their like space
I think I
agency.
saw that, yeah.
Yeah, and so many girls also applying because they would see, oh, you know, I can be like Artie. And then we had some kind of corporate leaders from Ruth from Google, for example, also had that response of, you know, it's. But I would say that if you don't make if as a creator you don't make an active effort to feature more women on the channel, like it's just not going to happen naturally, for the many reasons that you can't change. So you
Yeah.
just have to kind of do it.
Yeah, you have to be active and intentional, which I really appreciate that you mentioned that, because that's what it takes. I mean, that's the reason why the podcast space has been so male dominated as well, which has led to the manosphere and all the other things that we're talking about. So we need to work together to like raise each other up and you have a platform. So like when you feature someone that has an amazing story to tell, that's doing amazing work, you know, female or otherwise, like that is meaningful. It does a lot to them. You amplify them and their message. There's a responsibility with the platform you have.
Yeah, exactly, and it's also fun to watch. And it's no one wants to watch just guys. Like, also it's, so yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate that. So let's talk about the future of all this. Like, where will we be even next year at Cannes Lions when it comes to AI and social impact?
Look, I think a lot of brands are already making social impact. I don't know if anybody has seen the work with Dove and Real Beauty and how they're impacting change. I expect to see so many more brands in this space. I think it kind of happened at Cannes a little, like maybe a year or two ago, where it was all around gaming and, you know, understanding how hard it is for female gamers. So L'Oreal, for example, did this incredible campaign where they sent men undercover as women into games so that they could experience the abuse that women experience when they're gaming. It was so powerful and incredible. And, you know, I hope that more brands see and can get behind the impact and change they can make. We're certainly at WPP pushing for that. You know, we have incredible partners, as I mentioned. And so that's really our mission as well, is to try and push brands to drive positive change.
It's so interesting because we talk about social impact, seems so obvious, but then that's kind of connected to taking a stand.
Totally.
And brands are scared of that, including there's a lot of conversations around the US and that happening, you know. How do we get over that hump?
I mean, I think it has to mean something and be relevant for the brand, right? So it's about identifying the right space and the right place to play. You know, Real Beauty, for example, for Dove, is about ensuring images aren't manipulated. It's about showing up as a real woman, you know, curvy, in a wheelchair, you know, different race, different age. You know, all of those things matter. And I think, you know, for us as WPP, it's about really working with a brand and understanding where they can drive and make the most impact. And, you know, I haven't seen brands scared to do it, actually. I think brands, certainly the ones that we work with, really want to drive impact, I think everybody feels a collective responsibility. I was at a dinner with Amazon last night, and one of the leaders at Amazon said, "I have 5 projects I want to launch, to help drive this change and impact." We're humans, right? Fundamentally, we're not brands. We represent ourselves in who we work for. And I think that's one of the reasons we launched Unmute, is because we want to work for a brand that we feel proud of. And I think everybody, as a female, as a human, feels exactly the same way.
Yeah. What about you, Todd?
I feel like pretty much everyone's turning into like a media company in some way, right? Everyone has this opportunity, especially with the advancements of AI, to be your own boss if you wanted to, right? Be more entrepreneurial, be able to use social platforms, be able to be part of your distribution. And so I really do believe that, AI is a great, I guess, it's like ping pong, right? It's like you can always have like this unjudgmental, hopefully unjudgmental, not gaslighting type of a AI partner, a creative partner to bounce ideas off of, right? And hopefully through that you can create new types of content. Hopefully it's not acting as your therapist. You should really see a therapist if you need one.
This isn't mental health advice right now.
Not at all, not at all. But what I'm thinking about though is like it's a great educator too. So I'm hoping that AI is going to be used to help educate more people. But I think from a content side for this type of audience, right, about how AI can be used for social good, it's like so many different charities, are obviously always under-resourced, right? Yeah. And being able to write those personalized messages to your donors, be able to create unique content to help attract new types of leads for people that maybe care about the cause that you're working for or that you're advocating for. I think there's a lot of opportunities there for helping small businesses, right? Again, anyone that basically is under resourced and is competing against the larger corporations out there. I think AI is going to really be able to help them really do more with less. And and hopefully, new ideas and new types of businesses will come out of it that hopefully are not just purely capitalist, but also has some type of social impact, social good flavor to it.
What's so interesting, and this just came up, and there was a Substack article. I just thought it was so good because it talked about all the money that will be coming in through the people making money through OpenAI, because there is it's all at the top, right? Well, it's democratizing kind of distribution and access. Still money is at the top. So it's a bit still unbalanced, but there's gonna be a lot new foundational money through the people that have made money through some of these companies. And so the Substack article, I should maybe I'll post it on X and Threads, and if you follow me, you'll check it out. I'll just post it right after this. But it talked about, it's like there's gonna be a new access to new money because they'll have to put some money towards nonprofit. It was like some of the OpenAI teams, I'm not really giving the best details, but it really showed the opportunity for some of these people at the top of the money chain right now to give back, which I think is really amazing, hopefully. But I also think, we're talking a lot about what's happening in front of people, in front of the scenes, front of camera, on social media, in our feeds, and my hope is we're also seeing that behind the scenes. That creates real change when we're making the change not just for the consumers but for the culture behind the scenes that no one is watching, right? For creator economy, I work on Creators for Mental Health, a lot of infrastructure work, and we talk about creators for change, and yet a lot of us don't have any support. We have no perks. We have no health insurance. I mean, in the U.S. And this is really important with all the money going into the creator economy. We talk about it's the future. We care about creators. Well, I say, when's the last time you asked a creator, how are they doing? We're a workforce. And I do think the next conversation with us and the creator space is around, of course, AI and emerging tech, but it's okay, how do we create actual support for us as a workforce? And that's what I'm interested in too. That's the 360 I want to see. So what about you? What will the future be next year? Cannes Lions, AI and impact.
On the workforce thing, we were actually doing a project with YouTube in the UK that I think is likely to be rolled out worldwide.
Cool.
To include YouTuber in the list of jobs, basically.
We need to talk because that's a lot of the work I'm doing.
Yeah. Because it's there's a lot of things, in terms of taxes, different insurance. You know what I mean? It's a strange job where it doesn't quite fit in. Your question was what's
Well,
next
but
year?
but this is actually really interesting because, and I want to bring in AI again, protections for creators around AI for our IP and likeness.
Oh,
There's
yeah,
a lot
that's
of
a big
bills
one.
being created, but they haven't really necessarily passed. And so, you know, and there's also a lot of debate around if there are bills and laws, will that create more censorship or, you know, a lack of free speech? So it's interesting because some people that are digital advocates and creators, you know, they want laws. They also don't want laws that impinge on freedom of speech. So I think we're in a really interesting time right now when it comes to that. So
Yeah.
that is a
But
future
you
conversation.
are seeing I think maybe next year, one thing we're going to talk more about are the creator deals where you sell your likeness. So you have an AI catalog of like everything you could potentially do, say, wear, eat, etc., and then you just package it up and you sell it to, you know, there was obviously a deal with Kabi Lame, the biggest TikToker in the world by followers, also really nice guy, really funny guy. Yeah, and I think a lot of creators are like, ooh, that's something that can be done. So as well as you know, AI being a problem, like we have so many like random casinos and things like that that just like generate a career ladder episode on AI, and then it's very difficult to catch them because then you take one down, another one pops up. They're always in like a random jurisdiction, so you can't really do all that much about it. But I think there is also the flip side where you can see that if you're a creator and you're tired of making videos, and you know, a right offer comes in, like, oh, do you want me to just do it with AI? I own your image. You can be like, cool.
Yeah, but does that create community? Will the IP, you know, does it create more value in the end?
That's like
Less?
if you are done.
You have to be, yeah, you have
If
to be
you're-
the
if
end.
you're done, you
or
don't care
so
about
big, maybe,
community,
that, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm just wondering, like, it's interesting because I know certain creators that obviously have their real, like, it's like them actually doing the work, and then they have their AI version of themselves also a separate channel. I always am curious, like, how the fans relate to like the AI version of that creator. Like, I don't know if any of you guys have played around with that with like AI avatars, where you take your likeness and like you're like talking to the camera, but it's like your AI talking to the camera. I don't know, like,
I
if
think
that's
for
like
people,
uncanny valley.
I think for people that have a really close relationship with their communities, it's going to be hard. Unless, you know, I think that if you're more of you put content out, it gets discovered. You're kind of running on the algorithm, and people aren't. You know, I think the tech will be so good that you might not notice, even though there might have to be disclosure. But it depends on the creator and your goal, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I think look at what TikTok have done, right, with Symphony. You know, they're scaling synthetic creators. But actually, for me, I think there's a really interesting use case. Like, you don't want to sit and make 1,000 versions of something, right? But for a brand who might be able to amplify your content, do 1,000 different versions of it that speak directly to different communities, to me, that's quite powerful. But yeah, I mean, you've got to disclose it. There's actually a really interesting study that's come out of Oxford on how people react around synthetic humans. And, you know, a lot of it is around, obviously, disclosure, but also generations. They all feel very differently depending on the generation you're from, right? Like, people feel, you know, younger generations are feeling okay with it generally. I'm generalizing. If you're disclosing it and if they believe the purpose and the value is right to do that. Yeah, so yeah, you can't create a whole video of yourself and expect to build a community, but if you want to scale that content across places, yeah.
Yeah, localization is a great use case for
Totally.
AI for sure.
That
Yeah,
makes
and
sense.
translation and all of those things,
That
right?
creates impact because it's access to knowledge
Yeah.
and information. Look at that. It's full circle. We're wrapping. Any questions before we wrap since we're here? We're cash. Anything? Yes.
So if you could speak to young people today, how would you tell them to prepare for the future? I think that's one of the fears that they have. Like, I was talking to a young man who was going into computer science, and his counselors in the computer, they said, don't do it, AI is going to do it, you won't have any jobs. And so if you're an educator, how would you tell young people to prepare for the future?
I'll go in on this one because I just did a careers talk to my son's school.
Did you get booed? You didn't get booed.
Oh my God, he literally, the brief was, don't make it cringe for you or for me. So I was like, good start. But, you know, to me, I remember growing up, right? And you were always told, like, a section of, like, 20 jobs, like doctor, lawyer, whatever, you know, all the standard jobs. And, like, I grew up in a very mission-driven family, very, very mission-driven. And so I went in and I showed them an example of the problems I've solved throughout my career. And I asked them to come up with one problem they want to solve, design the job, and come up with the title, and then show the change that it would make in the world. Oh my God, our future is fine. These kids are unbelievable. We had like a volcanic engineer who's building walls to stop lava spreading beyond the volcano. We had like holographic zoos so that animals weren't harmed. Like, it was unreal. And actually, I think just the way that we talk to kids has to change. Like, this fear-mongering around AI, like, it's a technology at the end of the day. Yes, some of those jobs won't exist. But the reality is, you know, every generation has had to change and shift. But if we focus on solving fundamental problems and adding value and humanity and empathy, like, they will be fine. It's my feeling.
Well, getting people excited about leaning into their passions, it seems.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
mean,
love that. Thank
it's
you.
cool.
I would say the most dangerous person, in a good way, is a creative technologist. So leaning into the original, into the fine arts, I think like all that, like the pendulum, you know, swung really deep into digital, especially because of the pandemic. And we're seeing now the pendulum swings back. What's old is new again. Analog is now king, is going to become king. This, in real life, where I know you're real, right? You can't fake this. We can't, you know, you can't skip this. You have to be here in the moment, right? It's, you know, and so I feel like leaning into the arts is going to be amazing. I would actually disagree about this computer science and engineering. Like, right now, yes, everything's getting better, like this vibe coding you're hearing about, and like how most of like Meta's code stack now is like 90% probably all AI. But still, like, understanding what is the discernment of what's good and bad is still important, right? Because you're right, there's this whole challenge around apprenticeship. Like, if you're going to be a lawyer, how are you going to learn, you know, about, you know, case law and such? Because now the AI just, you know, reads everything and finds a smoking gun or whatever you're trying to do, right? And those whole cliche movies about, you know, staying up late, eating Chinese food, trying to, you know, do you know, figuring out the report for the case the following day. You know, now an AI would do that for you. And so forth with other different industries, right? Where it's hard to see how the younger generation are going to learn, like from the more mature, experienced worker in whatever field you're in. So I don't have a full answer yet about what the future of apprenticeship really looks like, but what I do know is that creativity is always going to be one of the biggest, strongest like muscles that you could ever like work. And so stay creative, whatever that means to you, playing the violin, being an illustrator, making funny movies, whatever it is. I also think that, yeah, understanding how these tools work, leaning into the AI tools. I had the privilege of having 5 interns that are like 19 to 23 working with me at A on the Lot, and just hanging out with them for 3 weeks straight, fueling them with like pizza, energy drinks, and like vapes.
That's healthy. That is healthy. The future
The future is bright.
That
because
sounds like a party.
these guys could build any. These guys were like cracked, you know, like coders, and they were engineers, like very green, very early stage engineers, but they still got things done. They still made things work. Would it scale to 1 million users? No, but it worked for what we needed in that moment, and that was really cool. And so I feel like I'm very hopeful for the future. I just think that, yeah, lean into what these new tools are, and yeah, definitely flex your creative muscles.
I know, we need a wrap. Any other questions?
Can we
I know.
talk
I think
about-
we need a wrap.
Can we
Do you
talk about
wanna-
Get Inspired?
Yes, as I was going to say to Max, any other
Sorry,
words
Max,
around that,
yes.
because he does have a show about the future of careers. But
Yeah, I mean, I think what I see a lot right now is cynicism, especially for teenagers, especially for guys. Like, nothing is good enough. This, even if I make it in this job, still not good enough. I mean, I was talking to one of my viewers who's like an Apple engineer, and she's like, yeah, but you know, it's just I don't have my own business, and I'm like, you're an engineer at Apple. Like, this is pretty insane. I think it's a real problem. I mean, I always say when someone asks me for like advice, I always say the same thing. It's like, first, people don't necessarily want to see the best. If you're worried that AI is going to be better at your job, think about all the football teams that people support. like a lot of people support teams that are terrible, you know, and they go and watch them and they pay them. Like, do you have a sports team, like the Jets or something? Well, yeah, I mean, yeah. Okay, well, exactly, yeah. It's like the Cavaliers, yeah. It's like you still go and see it. Go and see Knicks absolutely destroy you, like outclass you, you know, and it's fine. So it's with AI, it's like don't think about it being better than you. Think about how you can work with people, and then also try to get interested in people. I think for a lot of, it's like cool not to care, and especially for guys, like it's cool not to care about other people. Like, oh, this terrible, this terrible. I'm just like, okay, if you're not interested in people, just pretend until you actually are, and then I always say, don't drink and drive in the end, because.
Good advice. I knew I had to go to you. I mean, one more question. I think we're wrapping. Yeah, we need. Oh, we're not. She brought the mic to this guy. We'll do this very quickly, literally speed rounds.
So I just, from a historical perspective, I've heard about this research called firms of endearment. I don't know if you know about this. Firms of endearment.
Firms of endearment.
So in other words, like businesses that care about other humans and contribute,
Oh, firm.
they
Yeah.
outpace the S&P 500 in profitability, and it's data that's there. Like the world needs to know that, when a business cares about something and shares what they care about, they do better. And it's like, the nonprofit organizations that they support don't fall in line with the same spends, but it's important to
It can be
know
a
that
media.
the data's
It can be a
right.
media spend.
Exactly.
I went to a platform, whatever. I'm trying to not say TikTok, but that did not work. I haven't had a lot of sleep. I went to TikTok. This is between all of us. Anyone on TikTok? And they're going to hopefully support creators for mental health. But she goes, I really need to show the ROI. And I'm like, ROI on helping you want to support your creator culture and your communities. Mental health is a huge issue. You just had a class action lawsuit. How much more ROI do you want? But also, it is marketing spend. We could create content around it, community, events, all that. Anyway, yes. What? Oh, yes. We have something quickly, and then we're wrapping.
All right, I'm here for a reason, right? We're doing this whole campaign this whole week called Get Inspired, where we're giving away $500,000. Basically, Shira and I are ambassadors for this program.
Yep.
We got a few other people, Emily and Molly in the crowd, where we have a QR code, and we're going to give each one of you $100 to then give to a charity on this platform. There's about 15 amazing charities, so hopefully there's one there for you that resonates with you. But we want people to use their influence for good during Cannes Lions, right? So as much as we're talking about, me, it's about how are we going to pay it forward and give first. So find me after, find one of us. We have a QR code. We want to give $100 to each one of you to then give to a charity of your choice on this platform. And then hopefully you are feeling inspired to then inspire more people and pay it forward. So thank you so much for giving me the moment to say that.
Thank you. So come up to us, get our QR codes. We'll do it. Thank you so much for having us, Impact Lounge. We really appreciate it.